Jamal, I appreciate everything that you're doing for the community, and I appreciate even the opportunity or just the suggestion that you wanted to do something for me. But if the truth be told, the greatest athlete to come through Union is Julius Peacock. Julius Peacock was a man who ended up getting hurt, but Jesse Young, as we all know, won 4 gold medals. But out of 9 meetings that Jesse Owens and Julius Peacock had, Julius Peacock beat Jesse Owens 6 out of the 9 times. So that means that historically, Julius Peacock doesn't get hurt. History changes because Union's own Julius Peacock would have beat Jesse Owens because he beat him that many times head to head. So Vauxhall has a lot to be proud of. I'm glad to be a part of history. But you keep doing what you're doing, Jamal, because it's overdue.
Right.
For us in this
But
town.
and one question for you that everybody want to know, Tony. The 85 football team, is that the best football team that Union High School has ever seen?
Well, 85 would be my senior year, but I'm thinking you're thinking about 84.
84, I was only 1, so I'm just going on when I read it, reading from people, when I'm looking at these old clips. So my thing is, I got you right here in the flesh. I'm 31 now, so I'm getting schooled by a lot by the older heads in Vauxhall, but now I'm getting it from the horse's mouth, from you.
All right, I'm gonna give it to you live and direct. 84 and 85 was the 2 first undefeated teams. Actually, it wasn't the 2 undefeated teams. See, the history says that there was a 1969 team that went undefeated, and the first 1,000-yard rusher in Union was Carlton Chappelle, who he was on really the first undefeated team. But to answer your question, the best team out of 84 and 85, the tiebreaker is Todd Simonson. He was a fullback. I love my fullback, Sean Dillon, but Todd had over 1,200 yards rushing. I had over 1,600.
Wow.
So I think that Todd Simonson being the fullback is the tiebreaker. So I say the 84 team, based off of scholarships as well. They received more scholarships than we did as an 85 team. So 84 team, I give the nod to.
Now, I know I said one more question, but a lot would say that the 90s teams in Union was pretty good, even though they were 2 different eras. But a lot are saying the 90, 91, 92, 93, from what I vaguely remember from some of the Facebook posts I've been seeing out there, they also had a good little run going too.
Listen,
and like in the 90s, I was only 7, so then again, you know.
Let me. I'm gonna make it real plain for you. In 1983,
Okay.
had one of the better backfields that come through Union. They had Quincy Brooks, Keith Peace, Gordon Jones, right? They win. They end up losing in Union, state championship against Montclair. They win that state championship game. Either 84 team or 85 team will end up being number 1 in the country. And that would have sealed the deal, okay? Because that's how good we were. You have to realize that 85 team was number 3 in the country, okay? 83 and 84 team, man. If you look at the productivity, man, they can't touch the 80s teams. All due respect to them, but 84, 85, man. There wasn't too much anybody in the country that could have done with us. Anything with us. We was big, strong, fast, and it is what it is. Don't be mad. How you doing? Everything well? Good. So all due respect to the 90s, but it's hard to even compete with us in 84 and 85, man. We were so fundamentally sound, man. We could have beat you, anybody on our teams could have went anywhere in any place in the state. Our second team players, I'm talking about, it had been a starter and been all state someplace else.
Right.
But because we have respect for one another, we sat and created a community of love to one another, and we backed each other up. You know what I'm saying? The fastest guy, I'm gonna give you some other history. Les Dixon and
I've heard. I read that he was one of the fastest person on the team back then.
Well, Les Dixon's gonna get a kick out of this. Now, Les Dixon had the hurdle record and the 100 record. I broke those. He and I was on the same team, but I never beat Les in the race. I'm gonna give you that one. You can have that. But Les Dixon and I was, still to this date, we still hold the 200. He holds the 200 record. I hold the 100 and the 110 hurdle record. But you know, he was, and I said all of that to say, Les Dixon could have went anywhere rather than sitting behind me. But you know, he stuck around, and when I got tired, he went in, and before you know it, he would have 2 touchdowns, and the other team was like, I thought you took your first teamers out. But that's how deep we were on the bench, you know. It was crazy. So 90s team, I give you respect, but you can't come talk to the 80s, because we was all that and then some.
To the young folks that's growing up, what type of words would you give them, being that you done seen CFL, you done seen high school football, but even in the NFL, you done seen all aspects of life in the NFL, college, Canada. What type of advice would you give these young kids growing up now?
The biggest thing I could probably say to the young people right now is don't always trust what you hear. You know, the world has a lot to feed you, but it's not guiding you with wisdom. You know, find an older gentleman to get some knowledge, you know, and trust that, because the world will feed you nonsense and tell you that robbing and stealing and sagging your pants is the cool thing. But after you graduate high school, cool is getting a job with a degree, you know, and supporting yourself and hopefully getting yourself together to start a family. But the world will tell you otherwise. So to sum it all up, you know, everybody needs a mentor. You know, my philosophy is always have somebody that's pouring into you knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Have somebody that you can be transparent to, that you can tell your troubles to, you can talk to. And then always have somebody that you can pour into, so now you're giving back. So there's always an ever flow of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and generations can be healed and more learned and more knowledgeable just based off of those 3 principles. Always somebody giving you wisdom, always somebody that you can be transparent to, and always somebody that you can pour into.